Kevin wants to know, how do we become less resistant to the change?
That's a good question. That's the biggest hang-up with change, Kevin. You hit it right in the heart of the matter, right? And here's a little extra piece of advice on that. From personal experience, when you feel resistant to something, it may be valid. There may be something that's so wrong with it, all right? And you have to trust yourself. I mean, that's why you're yourself. Let's hope you can trust yourself, all right? But a lot of times, like they said, it's based in beliefs and stagnant beliefs. And what I suggest you do at that point is breathe out your resistance. Don't claim a position on one side or the other, and become observant. Now you're present, you're in the moment, and you're not being maneuvered by your belief systems that may or may not be flawed. But if you feel like you just need to pull back and really learn larger, then do that. Just take and release the whole thing. Don't claim it a side, and just let yourself observe. That's really important. And you will be surprised what happens. If you have something, Kevin, that's really, really stubborn, then you're in for a bigger surprise, right? You're in for a bigger surprise, because then you need to do it more than for the moment. You might need to do it for a day. You might need to do it for a week. You might need to practice this for a while. And in doing that, you're going to bump into all kinds of things that are gravy, that are more than you thought, that you get bigger insight into things that you would have missed, you never would have got if you hadn't taken that position, all right? So consider doing that.
Janet, I've been observing my body's reactions when I make a decision to determine if they are fear-based, and I'm starting to feel the difference. Good. My question is how to pivot from the fear-based perspective to a more open one.
Again, if you just pull yourself out of the wanting, there's a thing about wanting and needing, okay? When you need something, it's an experience. When you want something, it's a lesson. So look at your motives, right? And make sure your motives are clean as they can possibly be. Take the breath and release your attachment to an outcome. In the Chinese proverb, the one who wants the deal most loses. So the more you want something, the more you're in a position to be on the short side of the deal. So get your personal desires and neediness out of it, okay? Just get it out of it, and you will get the right information. You will know. Your guidance can come through because you're not blocking it with something that you want, okay? It just gets in the way. It's not clean. It doesn't serve you for the long run. So
Answer Janet's question about how does she determine if the decision she made was fear-based or not. It's how you feel after you make it.
it's how you feel before you make it, right?
Right, before you make it.
Yeah. Okay, so if it's fear-based, what you need to do, Janet, is you need to write down, you need to take the baby steps, because it's the fastest way to travel through this, all right? You need to write down what you think your decisions are, what your choices are. Just choice number 1, 2, or 3, whatever they happen to be. And you need to sleep on it. Or you need to write them down, then you need to go, you need to release it and push it away, all right? And let it come to you, all right? It's something like a relationship. You want this relationship that's going to be great, awesome, the one, all right? You write down what that is, you turn it over, and you turn it over to the universe, to your guidance, and you leave it alone, and let it come back to you. It will find you. You don't have to go looking for it.
Right.
Trust your universe. Trust your guidance, all right? Don't hang on to it like you need an answer right now. That's where people get in trouble. They want the answer right now, okay? That is making things happen, that's not allowing things to come to you. Allow it to come to you, okay? So sleep on it. Write it down, look at it, pull back, observe it, and let it work for you. What do we have? What else?
Well, let's get to Daisy's question. A couple of parts here. What do our guides and angels recommend we do to shield or protect ourselves, protect our energy? I know that we vibrate, how we vibrate, we can manifest both positive and negative into our reality. But sometimes we have to coexist with all these negative people like at work. And she's curious as what she could do so she's not as affected by some of the low energy types that she works with.
I can feel it in my body right now, okay? Okay, do we have anything else on that question?
No.
Is you are around an influence that doesn't support who you are. That's how you know that they're opposing energy. And you could call it negative energy, but let's just keep it as drama-free as we possibly can so we can really look into this and get the answer. You see what I said, you guys? Pull the drama out of your life. In order to see things clearly, you have to approach them with clarity. That's how you get clarity, all right? So in her case, how does she manage to
work with these negative people?
To work through this? I'm not going to say with, because if you're around this, you can't possibly grow to your potential when you're surrounded by this kind of energy that won't let you do that, okay? So there's something fundamentally incorrect about where you have positioned yourself in this life at this time. Doesn't mean it's going to be like this forever, but this is where you are right now. Okay, and the more dedicated you are to keeping your plate clean, you have to keep your plate clean. It doesn't matter what anybody else does. No matter how hard they push you, it's about you keeping your center and you keeping your plate clean. If you're truly dedicated to doing that and following through on that and living by that every single day, you're going to attract something that aligns with that, which is not where you're at, and you're going to find yourself in a better situation. It will find you.
That's right.
Okay? That's how you do it. But you have to be true to yourself. True.
The way you become neutral in any situation is people use the words like strange, that's a strange thing, or that's weird, or nothing is ever strange or weird when you're an observer. Everything's just interesting. Right?
And there's a reason why you're there. You're there, there's no accident why you're there, why you are there at that employment at this particular time.
Right.
Remember that nothing lasts forever. Everything is temporary. So you're there to get something that you can't see because you're right in it. So it's harder to see. Again, trust your universe. They would not put you in a spot like that if you didn't have something valuable to walk away with, to move on with, okay? Trust your universe. Something more is going on. Make notes about what's going on. Write in your journal chronologically, keep it in chronological order, what's going on at your work, what you're realizing, what you're observing, what you're learning, okay? What you think it is. Keep it going. This is your communication bridge to your guides. Come home. Just let your guides come through. Let that communication bridge build, all right? You're building up your energy. Let that build. Don't tell anybody about writing in your journal how you're putting this together, what you're learning, how you're reasoning this out, how you're feeling about it, the communication you have. Don't share that with anybody. That's private. That's personal to you, all right? So
When did you tell people about it?
I told them when I wrote Guided. I told them
60 years later.
Yeah, I told them when I wrote my book, Guided, and not before. And then people that have known me my whole life read the book and they just went, you know, Linda, I wouldn't have believed that was you when I read the book. I didn't even know you. I thought I knew who you were. I said, I know.
Good comment from Kevin. Kevin says, he likes the questions, excellent questions. The key is, when we are blinded by our emotions, it prevents us from making the best choices.
Right. Exactly.
not a question, kind of a comment.
No, that's the point. That's that Chinese proverb I mentioned earlier. When the person who wants the deal the most, this is like in business, whoever wants the deal most loses because now they want it the most, right? So they're automatically in an inferior position because they'll go farther than the person who's composed, who's sitting back neutral and trusting their universe, all right? So you have to trust your universe. It's real important. Kevin, good point.
Yeah, and it's how you make decisions. Do you make emotional decisions? Look back on the decisions you made in your past. I mean, look back over the last month or over your life. Were the decisions that you made emotionally, how did those turn out compared to the ones where you took your time and you looked at them with your heart? You made them with a heart decision rather than an emotional decision.
Right.
And a lot of the snap decisions are emotional decisions.
And you know what? What Ray said, the difference between the emotional decision and the heart decision is a huge gap, all right? People think, well, I made a heart decision. No, you didn't. You made an emotional decision. There's a big difference. So if you made it with your heart, you're on the right track. If you made it with your emotion, you're blinded, really.
Right. And it kind of goes in line with people want immediate gratification.
Right.
So they make emotional decisions.
Right. And they justify it. When your emotions get involved, now you start negotiating, you start justifying it, all kinds of little tricks we play on each other, making ourselves believe a bunch of nonsense, right?
The funny thing is that instead of making a logical decision,
or a heart decision.
Right. People make an emotional decision, and then they use logic to justify their emotional decision.
Oh yeah, you'll see them go right into it. And even we do this to ourselves. If we have, I don't know, we all slip into it sometimes, you guys. So, it's just, we have to know that's what's going on, so we catch ourselves before we slide back into it.